Good evening and welcome to Triad News 360 for September 20th, 2017. I'm Amy He.
And I'm Kate Moans. Coming up tonight, Hurricane Irma rocks the southeast.
And later, local help from the Triad heads south as Houston regains strength from Hurricane Harvey.
But first, Triad News 360 weather person Todd Uckermark joins us. Is it going to be a good weekend, Todd?
It's going to be a beautiful weekend, guys. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to have you guys. It'll be a wonderful weekend for a cookout. Beautiful sunny skies, and I'll tell you a lot more about that coming up next. Back to you.
Hurricane Irma is the largest Atlantic storm ever recorded. Floridians braced themselves for the worst.
Fortunately, damage is much less severe than expected. Hurricane Andrew was one of the worst storms in the history of Florida, according to Florida Governor Rick Scott.
$15 billion in emergency federal funding has been set aside for Florida and Texas in the wake of Hurricanes Harvey and Irma, but those funds won't be available until mid-October.
The most current numbers show that almost 70 people from the Caribbean, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina died as a result from the Hurricane Irma.
Hurricane Irma crashed into Florida with severe winds and waves.
Pictures as the nearly 6.5 million people were out of power. At some point, the power company says it will take weeks to restore service.
Besides the wind and water, one of the scariest things of any hurricane is losing touch with loved ones.
Power lines, phone lines, and cell service disappears, and families worry about those still riding out there in the storm.
Joining us in studio is Triad News 360 reporter Cheryl Wairo with the story of one's family fears for those they lost contact with. Cheryl?
Imagine not being able to talk to your loved ones when they feel they need you the most. Well, this was the case for many people for the last few weeks as hurricanes have plummeted their way through the Gulf Coast states. Well, this was the case for many people for the last few weeks as hurricanes have plummeted. This was the reality for a mother and a son, a star athlete and a college graduate. He was without power for days as Hurricane Irma passed his city. She was terrified. She did not know what to do or how to help her son. Here's a little more from her on her son.
And then my son's name is Christopher Wayoro. He lives in Florida. And then during the Hurricane Irma, the first day it was okay. And then I was very scared when they lost the power. My son, for his girlfriend, and also for people in Florida to make sure that they are all safe. So it was a very, very scary experience.
This was a hard story for me because the mom and son in the video is in fact my mother and brother.
Is your brother okay?
He's actually doing quite fine, just, recovering from the devastating winds of the hurricane.
I'm glad your brother is fine. Thank you so much for joining us today, Cheryl.
Thank you.
After Irma wrecked several Caribbean islands, the hurricane walked its way up the state of Florida,
leaving residents in shock. In Orlando, homeowner Julie Goldberg gives Triad News 360 the first-hand account the morning Irma passed over.
This is our front yard. As you can see, it is a freaking mess. You can barely walk. Our street is flooded, but if you look across the street, our neighbor's oak broke and is on their house. But if you see our street, it is flooded. This is the street of our house.
It's not flooded here.
And then you go this way.
That's right.
And then this is the other side of our street.
That's right.
But yes, this is the front yard right now. Unbelievable. But this oak, which has probably been here forever, has been lifted up off the roots. If you can see our poor oak.
schools were canceled and roads closed. It'll be some time before all is back to normal for Julie Goldberg and everyone else in Florida.
As Florida and Texas recover, families are reconnecting and breathing a sign of relief.
But with Hurricane Maria headed towards Florida, nerves are on edge once again.
Not everyone evacuated their home as the hurricanes approached. Some hunkered down in their homes to ride out the storms.
Triad News 360 spoke over the phone with Kathy Lesko in Boca Raton, Florida, just before Irma showed up.
They recommend routinely getting ready as we get closer, telling people to stack up on their supplies, have a plan for your pets, things like that. I work for a school board, and they canceled 2 days of school, and they did it on Tuesday night, knowing the storm was coming. They canceled Thursday and Friday so that everybody could get ready, and it also, because the schools are also shelters, so they need people not in there working so they can get them ready to be shelters once the time comes.
The tree you saw in the video was in her front yard where she was staying.
With Hurricane Maria approaching Florida, Kathy Lesko reminds anyone who is thinking to ride out a hurricane that preparing is the key to survival.
Tropical storm Irma made its way through North Carolina, leaving thousands without power.
Duke Energy has reported nearly 60,000 customers without service Tuesday morning. They found most problems in Buncombe, Mecklenburg, and Jackson counties.
The storm brought high wind gusts of nearly 50 miles per hour. Fortunately, there have been no report injuries or deaths.
North Carolina was ready for Irma's wrath, should it have come our way.
Shelters were set up across the Tar Heel state like this one in Greensboro. Everything was ready in case.
But fortunately, these shelters got very little, as you can see, because Irma turned more towards the west and had very little impact here in the Triad.
Shelters were open in the following counties: Henderson, Greensboro, Cleveland, Mecklenburg, and Johnston. Quite a story happened this weekend in High Point. A police officer entered a building in downtown High Point, not with his feet, but with his car. This officer hit the gas pedal instead of the brake, accidentally backing into a Lexington home brand design studio. The officer was attempting to get out of the way of construction vehicles.
The good news is nobody was hurt after the incidents. No charges have been filed yet against the officer. Officials are planning on having the building restored before Furniture Market comes back to town in October.
Coming up next, Hurricane Harvey has devastated Houston and surrounding areas.
Local and national aid is heading down to the Houston and help Harvey victims.
I'll show you how a lot of hard work got this local Boys and Girls Club 3 new school buses for their kids.
But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
I'm live at the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club of High Point, and they just got 3 new school buses for their kids, fixed with air conditioning for this high North Carolina heat, and some really special seat belts. I got to interview with the director of the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club of High Point, Amy Hudson, about how they got these buses for their kids.
It's 3 o'clock on the dot once again, and the school day has ended. If parents are still at work, where do their kids go, and how do they get there?
Here at the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club of High Point, we focus on youth services. So we do after-school care, which does homework help, we feed them a solid meal, and then we do character development classes that's in keeping with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
The Salvation Army has 3 new school buses that carry 30 kids each, and they worked hard to get them for the Boys and Girls Club of High Point. These buses will get the students from school to the Boys and Girls Club for the program.
It took an entire community to make this happen. Initially, it started with a grant with the Community Foundation, which we were blessed to get. The buses cost around $55,000 each, and I was able to get about half of what we needed through this grant. So we were starting kind of an effort to raise funds. But through the partnership with Thomas Built Buses, who are phenomenal supporters of youth initiatives in the city of High Point, we were able to get 2 buses for that amount of money. And what it came down to was their partners stepped up. Some of their employees actually volunteered their time to do the physical labor on our buses. Their seating company stepped up and donated the seats, and didn't just donate lap belts, but they gave us harnesses, so our kids are extremely safe now.
Kids will come here every day after school, sometimes as late as 7 p.m., waiting for parents to pick them up.
But the important thing is that we're also in line with the Salvation Army's Center of Hope. So all of our children that are going through our women and family shelter get to come here and have this consistency of an after-school program so their parents can do what they need to do to get back on their feet.
The Salvation Army is making improvements, but they always need a helping hand.
I think our next big project is probably going to be our gym. Our gym the floor is horrible, it's old, it's a big space, but it needs a lot of work to make it updated.
If you'd like to donate, volunteer, or need more information, visit salvationarmycarolinas.org. Reporting for Triad News, I'm Courtney Wallen.
It makes for a long day for those youngsters, but having some place to go after school is a very big deal for parents.
And the Salvation Army provides a safe place and things to do while kids wait for their parents. It just took a little creativity with getting some grants to make it work.
Hurricane Harvey has caused devastation across the southeast and southern parts of the U.S.
Houston, Texas got the full force of Hurricane Harvey as it stalled right on top of them.
But as skies cleared and the people of Houston got to look at the destruction for the first time, others around the country rallied to help.
Triad News 360 reporter Emil Maynard has more on the story.
Hurricane Harvey blasted Houston, leaving the people in need and the medical facilities shattered. Help came from all over the country, including the city of Archdale, North Carolina. Dr. Don Winters grabbed his medical bag and decided to make a difference.
It was a very busy couple of weeks.
Winters knew exactly what he was getting into.
For me personally, and I think this is true for many of the people on our team, we can all do the kind of medical care that we do anywhere in the world, and yet that said, there are not many people who will run in when everyone else is running the other direction. The convention center had 10,000 patients or persons in the general population, and over the course of 6 days we saw 2,500 people.
For him, helping others is much more than work.
For me, it's internal satisfaction. It's a feeling of being able to do a good thing when I know that we're most needed. The sense that I've done what I'm supposed to do in this world.
Helping in Florida is in his mind, but he knows that his patients here are also in need.
Yes, I would love to be at Hurricane Irma. I also know that I'm needed here, and I have to meet the needs of my family and my practice also. But our team is prepared to be deployed again. At that point, the federal service that we work for says, well, if you can, it's not a must. And at no time do we encounter a must deploy. But come November, when our time is up again, my partners and my family understand that if there's a disaster.
What a touching story. When disasters strike, it is always great to see the number of folks who pitch in to help from all around the country.
People who jumped in to help came in all shapes and sizes.
One was well over 6 feet tall and 200 pounds.
He is also loaded with lots of muscles and can run really fast. Houston Texan football player J.J. Watt.
He started with just a few folks and hoped to raise whatever amount of money he could. But J.J. Watt's idea really grew and became a major national fundraising event.
At last count, Watt has raised an astonishing amount of money for the victims of Hurricane Harvey, a total of over $37 million. That is truly amazing, but help comes from everywhere when people are in need.
From the Carolinas, the Midwest, and even as far as north of New England.
Triad News 360 reporter Emily Durant traveled to New England town and found a large community spirit.
Oh my God, this is crazy. This is nuts. They came from everywhere.
Look at this.
They just kept coming. For 10 days, people of all shapes and sizes descended upon a small restaurant in Hampton, New Hampshire.
But then donations kept flowing in, and a lot of donations kept flowing in, where Desi's like, we need to get like a bigger truck here.
So they got not one, but two 18-wheelers and stuffed them both.
These people standing around here have been here from 8:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, nonstop. Proud of every one of them, and we all chipped in and we all did it.
They brought everything they could think of to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey.
It was a pleasure to see the whole community come together. It did a lot for everybody here, as well as help people in Houston.
Hygiene, canned goods, cleaning supplies. And they didn't forget the pets.
And it makes the world a smaller place when you know that something we do up here in the Northeast can really impact a lot of people down south.
The journey? 1,885 miles.
Thanks, Emily. A touching story on help pouring into Houston from across the country.
The recent hurricanes have caused a lot more than physical damage to the states that have been hit, but the effects are being felt across the country and in everyone's wallet. Around the Triad have been affected as well. Before the hurricanes descended upon Texas and Florida, gas prices were about $2.15 per gallon.
Some places even dipping below $2 a gallon, while other places had prices soaring within a couple of days to $2.70.
Common prices around the Triad are somewhat below $2.60 per gallon and have settled in at that price for the past week or so.
And one can count on those prices not dropping too fast with another hurricane aiming at U.S. shores.
And coming up next on Triad News 360, Todd Uckermark joins us with the weather around the Triad.
And a new store in Greensboro that will get your day off to a really sweet start. We'll be right back.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Amy He.
And I'm Kate Moans.
We've had some great weather in the Triad for the last couple of days. Triad News 360 weather person Todd Uckermark is here with our sunny skies. Todd, are we still going to have sunny skies out there?
Hello and welcome back. Triad News weather person who is never whack. Like Johnny Cash, I'm mostly dressed in black. But as we look across the nation, I promise you not a drop of precipitation. If you look to the east or west, I promise you'll never find weather more best. You can see that there is some cold weather coming in for this, from the western coast. If we looked at the national weather map, you can also see, though, most of that weather is dry and sunny, so you don't need a jacket nor no cap. Now, as we go more to the east, you can see that the heat is staying up here, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we are going to keep that weather up, because I'm not ready for those fall winds to come in yet. If we look at the local weather map, you'll see that there's a lot of 90s positioned together. So moving forward, you can see that, yes, we are having this beautiful weather recently, and moving forward, I promise you more beautiful weather for the next few weeks. If we bring up the 7-day forecast, you could see through Wednesday, it starts at 87, low is 64. Thursday, another 85, Friday 85, Saturday 85, and Sunday 83. Drops down a little bit, stays in 83, down to 82, but then it kind of just levels out for the next few weeks or so, just staying in the 80s, and it's going to be nice and sunny. So hopefully, before you miss the nice weather, go outside and enjoy it. And also, before we go on, I just want to say, keep your thoughts, prayers, hopes, and good vibes heading towards all those in the eastern seaboard who are dealing with these wicked winds and these wet conditions. Back to you.
Thanks, Todd. That sounds like I still have a few days till I can't go to the pool anymore.
I know, I can't believe that fall is almost here. It means that stores will soon start to showcase pumpkin spice coffees and treats, including donuts.
Well, Kate, speaking of donuts, there's a new donut shop in Greensboro, and they have some really new choices.
Triad News reporter Emmett Cusrow joins us in the studio with a really sweet story.
For those of us, actually probably most of us, who have a hard time getting started in the mornings, there is a new shop in Greensboro that just might get your motor running.
How can you make a great treat even better? A brand new Greensboro Cafe is turning an old favorite on its head to do just that.
Our customers are engaged in the process by being able to custom make their own donuts.
At Donut Time, the list of flavors goes on and on. Chocolate, vanilla, and some with crazy imagination.
We're working on our recipe bank. Right now we have a pina colada with coconut topping and a maraschino cherry. We've created a matcha green tea. We've created a tiramisu. We have created, an Irish beer. And then we sprinkle that's that one. The Irish beer, it's almost like a stout, and we're topped with
Maple bacon is a customer favorite, along with red velvet. And what's a donut without a good cup of coffee? With coffee roasted in and imported from Italy, every cup from Donut Time is a good cup, from the Americanos to the cappuccinos. Greensboro's Donut Time is one of a kind, and has been open just 1 month. Can it survive against giant national chains?
I don't see us as a competitor, Krispy Kreme, because we have an entirely different donut. Our donuts are a vanilla cake donut, whereas theirs is a yeast donut. So it's a little bit different, and I don't feel like we need to be in competition. Different tastes, different, works for different people. So I just think this is a nice add-on into the donut world.
So I brought a little sample of their offerings.
Okay, that's killing me as I haven't had dinner yet.
This looks so good. What is your guys' favorite donuts?
I really like chocolate frosted donuts because I can't stay away from chocolate.
I cannot live without apple fritters. This smells so good right now.
Before I gain any weight just sitting here, sports is next with all the High Point University scores.
And without these special volunteers, a local barn might have had a hard time keeping up with its mission. We'll be right back.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
I want want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Amy He.
And I'm Kate Mones. Horsepower. It's really hard to keep a large ranch running, especially one with a purpose.
Local college students and other volunteers are stepping in to keep a good thing going.
I found one barn that has an entire herd of volunteers who are very important to keeping the operation running and also to the special folks who come by the barn.
It's tough work, but it's for a good cause.
Horsepower is a therapeutic riding center in Greensboro, North Carolina that focuses on children that have mental or physical disabilities, giving them a safe environment to interact with horses to help them gain better fine motor skills. High Point University students took it upon themselves to reach out and lend a helping hand.
So I heard about it through our Alpha Phi Omega service fraternity organization. We got in contact with Horsepower probably a few years ago, and ever since we've been actively volunteering with them.
I grew up working in farms. I went to a lot of horse camps. I love the animals. They're one of my favorite creatures on this earth, and I have a lot of respect for them and the work that they're doing here with the children.
In a few weeks, students will be able to extend their service, volunteering for ride-alongs with some of the students instead of just barn cleanup.
We are very excited about that opportunity.
You should volunteer because it offers you the chance to give back to your community, to help make a difference, and to impact the children's lives. It provides an opportunity to develop new skills yourself.
They're always welcoming volunteers. They have a variety of different activities you can volunteer for.
Yeah, you don't need any experience before you get a Horsepower. They'll teach you exactly what you have to do, and it's easy and it's a lot of fun.
If you want to donate today or hang out with horses and extend your service, visit www.horsepower.org. You know, I never thought that I would actually volunteer to go clean up horse poop, but I actually had a great time, and it's crazy to me to think that these horses eat only hay and, you know, make such a mess, but it was great being there. I had a lot of fun, and I think anyone should go and volunteer.
When I was in high school, I actually did something similar to this.
Yeah?
It was really fun. Did it for a whole year.
Horses are great.
My clothes just smelled like horse poop the entire time, but you know what? Horses are lovely.
Yes.
Big news for the city of High Point. High Point University President Nito Kubin delivered his much anticipated update on the goals he promised in May for a new baseball complex in downtown High Point.
President Cobain laid out the goals to secure his funding, naming rights, and contractors for the development of the baseball stadium complex.
During the presentation on September 6th, President Kubin revealed that not only did he meet every goal promised, he exceeded that $38 million fundraising goal and instead raised $50 million.
Despite these developments, county commissioners who must vote on whether to approve the project remain skeptical and have scheduled a public hearing this week on Thursday, September 21st.
Fall sports are underway at High Point University.
Joining us in studio is Triad News 360 reporter JT Aubrey. How are the Panthers doing this season?
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Kate. The High Point men's soccer team fought valiantly, but lost 1-0 in double overtime against the number 4 team in the nation, Wake Forest. Redshirt sophomore goalkeeper Keegan Meyer had a new career high with 7 saves in goal for the Panthers. The Panthers held Wake Forest scoreless throughout regulation, being the first team to do so this season, but eventually could not keep up with one of the top teams in the nation. The Panthers, now 2-3-2 on the year, will open up their Big South play this Saturday versus UNC Asheville. The game will start at 6 p.m. The High Point University women's soccer team won their final non-conference match of the year this past Sunday, beating Marshall University 1-0. for the third straight shutout of the season. High Point is now 3-6 on the season. Senior Brianna Jean Charles scored the match's lone goal in the 74th minute, her first of the season and the 12th of her career. The Panthers only allowed 6 shots on goal. Allie Regan played a team-high 72 minutes and her Big South Defensive Player of the Week. The Panthers travel to Longwood on Saturday for their first Big South Conference match of the season. The men's cross-country team finished 4th out of 5 in the Big South preview last weekend in Lynchburg, Virginia, while junior Alejandro Juan Torres, who was named the HPU Male Student Athlete of the Week, finished 2nd in the 8K. Up next for the Panthers is a trip to Spartanburg, South Carolina, where they will compete in the Upstate Invite on September 30th. The High Point women's cross-country team captured the Big South preview title Saturday in Lynchburg, Virginia, with 5 runners in the top 6 finishers. Freshman Famke Heinz captured her first collegiate win, finishing the 5K 5 seconds faster than the second-place finisher. Heinz was the Panthers' first individual race champion since 2015, earning her High Point Student Athlete of the Week honors. Next up, HPU will complete in Lynchburg, Virginia at the Virginia Panorama Farms Invitational on September 23rd. The High Point women's volleyball team defeated Liberty 3-1 last night in their first conference game of the season. Junior Katie Tileman led the Panthers in kills with 18, and Abby Bottomley led the team in digs with 35. The Panthers dropped their first set, but The Panthers dropped their first set, but came storming back, winning the next 3 in a row to earn themselves the victory. The Panthers will remain on the road when they head to Charleston Southern to play the Bucks at 2 p.m. this Saturday. The start of the season for HPU's men's and women's golf team was originally scheduled for the second week of September. However, the Golf League Program Championship in Pawleys Island, South Carolina was canceled due to Hurricane Irma. The women's golf team will now be starting their season at the Pirate Collegiate Classic scheduled to take place in Greensville, North Carolina on September 25th and September 26th. The men's golf team will take to the links on October 2nd and 3rd in the Wolfpack Fall Invitational in Raleigh. That's it for High Point Sports. Amy, back to you guys.
Thanks, JT. The Cleveland Indians had their historic 22-game win streak snapped after losing to the Kansas City Royals, 4-3.
The Indians fell 4 games short of tying the Major League Baseball win streak record games of 26 games set by the 1916 New York Giants.
The Indians now hold the records for the longest win streak in American League history.
The Indians have clinched the AL Central and the spot in the postseason and are considered by some experts as a World Series contender.
When we return, we will tell you all of the details, or maybe all of the details Apple has let out so far about the new Apple iPhone.
And a special music festival through the eye of our cameras. Stay tuned.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Kate Moans.
And I'm Amy He. Do you enjoy going to concerts, music festivals, Kate?
Yes, I love it. I actually interned in the concert industry. It's a lot of fun, any concert. Triad News reporter 360 Mackenzie Fisher took her camera to the recent music festival in town and has these sights and sounds of the weekend.
The National Folk Festival was last weekend in Greensboro, North Carolina. The 3-day festival started September 7th and was free to the public. Tons of people came out to listen to the music of the mountains and experience the songs that shaped our country's culture.
Jackson Bluegrass Project that was out a while back and then toured with Alan, and what I think is cool is he was on there one of the last David Letterman shows.
The festival showcased the music from the beginning of American history, starting with traditional Native American songs, leading up to the acoustic singer-songwriters of today. The 30-plus food trucks encouraged audiences to stay all day and picnic while listening to their favorite musicians. The festival was also a huge vending space for local artists, and festival goers loved checking out the handmade goods. Booths were filled with wood carvings, paintings, and even old folk instruments, which people were able to play.
And Rosalie heard it and she loved it, and they would call me. Oh, honey.
The festival has been around since 1934, and Greensboro has hosted the last 3 years.
I love listening to live music. What a great way to hear and see local musicians perform.
Always up for a good concert. New Apple is coming out. The details about the iPhones have been released. The new iPhone will not have a home button.
The phone will also have a new security feature in the form of facial recognition. The iPhone 10 will go on sale later this fall.
What do you think, Kate? Are you going to get it?
No, I'm still paying off my iPhone 7, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get it either. Without the home button, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I literally press the home button all the time in class.
I know. It's gonna be interesting to see what reviews it gets.
And the facial recognition. Mm-hmm. What if you just one day you decided, oh, I'm not gonna put on makeup and they can't recognize your face?
You know, that would be a straight up defect. I'd return it. I'd feel offended.
Right?
Yep.
That's all for tonight's program. For Triad News 360, I'm Amy Heath.
And I'm Kate Moans. Good night, High Point.